long as we don't have good governance, we'll continue to have this issue. The same government that said in 2016 that they had removed subsidy, they had deregulated the petroleum sector, yet we have again in 2020 the same story. In 2016, they increased the price very well, from 80 something to around 140 something. And then now again, they've increased the price. They're using the same line. So it means that the government isn't being truthful with the people. And this is where the issue should be focused on. And most importantly, if you say that you've deregulated, there's no longer subsidy, then there is no way government is still the one fixing the price. There's no way the cost of a liter of petrol will be the same in in Kano State, the same in Lagos State and the same in Kano State or Maiduguri or anywhere. Who is going to pay for the cost of transportation? You can't have a place where the goods comes in first, petrol itself.
All right, we're going to go to the business day. Hoteliers may abandon franchise agreement as business declines. Also on the business day, Lagos labs scramble for reagents as flight resumption surges demand for COVID-19 tests. Edo 2020 group supports Obaseki's re-election, produced over 2,000 face masks for election day. And also analysis shows that only 25% of Nigerians are impacted by tariff review. Real estate is our oil in Lagos. We are conforming to global best practices to ensure enduring continuity for genuine participants. These are the major ones that we have time to take. Mr. Yusuf, I think you can squeeze your thoughts into the shortest time possible so we can wrap up.
Okay. I do election litmus test of Nigeria's commitment to democracy. I mean, every election, that's the same thing that is being said. And consistently, Nigeria has failed on every of those tests. And I think we just need to go beyond words and begin to really get the action that we need in terms of reform in our electoral system and electoral laws. Economists convert agent banking to save economy. There's so much of people who are not within the banking system. A lot of Nigerians don't actually bank. You understand? If you look at the number, I think about something million people that have a BVN compared to the population of the country. There are so many people, even people with large volume of money, businesses who really don't bother about going to the bank because it's the high volume, it's out there. There is a need for us to begin to get them in. But then, of course, the thing also comes with the father.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with us. Looking forward to another conversation with you. And also all the time that we have on Off the Press. We'll be back in a bit.
Edo is a very complex one. I am not a fan of Obaseki. I am not a fan of Oshiomhole.
APC is the ruling party in Nigeria.
Let me warn the APC, however, that our patience is not elastic.
Business of electoral franchise is a business of winning the souls and minds of the Edo people. We say capital rejectamenta.
Well, you didn't let me resolve the issue between you and your friend, comrade. If we had done it that time, everything would have been smoother than this.
When you do good or you do bad, you will forget. Those who are beneficiaries of victories of your action, they can forget.
I'm so elated that there was no incident of violence in one of the two wards. God took control.
I am assuring you, as the Chief Security Officer of Edo, that there will be no violence in Edo for this election.
Join us on Plus TV Africa this Saturday for live updates on the Edo 2020 elections.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot.
Many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa.
State government has approved a bill for the establishment of State Security Network Agency, Amoteco.
We have the highest number of extremely poor people in the world.
He's not concerned about lecturers that are raping students that are under their care. He's concerned about them being stigmatized.
And I can tell you that he will get the result in full measure. He cannot avoid responsibility.
Why the focus on Africa at this point?
The news only cover, one side of Africa, so we always felt like the picture is incomplete, so we need the whole picture.
65% of these people, whom we term as the urban poor, live in settlements, otherwise known as slums.
This is just the tip of the iceberg of the road situations in Lagos, from the mainland to the island.
It's been a closed-door security meeting as the retreat for senior police officers hits day 3.
There's this basket or there's this bowl that we all come to the center to pick from.
Many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Osaogie Ogbonwa. The Police Service Commission has dispatched a high-powered monitoring team to monitor the conduct of policemen on electoral duties during the Saturday governorship election in Edo State. The team is led by Romy Mom, a commissioner representing the human rights organizations in the commission, and also includes the commissioner representing the media, Austin Brimo. According to a statement on Thursday by the PSC spokesman, Ikechukwani, the commission also released dedicated telephone numbers for complaints and commendation on the conduct of police during the exercise. All sensitive materials for the Edo State governorship election scheduled for Saturday have left the custody of the Central Bank of Nigeria in Benin City for the various local government areas, the Independent National Electoral Commission has said. The commission also announced that it would use both members of the National Youth Service Corps and ad hoc staff of tertiary institutions in the Ondo State governorship election scheduled for October 10th, 2020. And also in the news, the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, has called on the indigents of Edo State to come out in their numbers and vote in the September 19th governorship election. The group made the call while addressing journalists during its pre-election analysis in Abuja. The group, however, raised concerns over the rising cases of insecurity and violence in the build-up to the election.
To appeal to the people of Edo State to come out and vote, but do so peacefully, defend their mandates, and not allow those who want to scuttle the elections to do so. Because doing so will be a setback, not only for Edo State, but for the country as a whole and for our reputation abroad.
INEC should be ready to extend voting hours, in particular if they have to implement their COVID-19 policy. And because it takes longer period of time to conduct the elections compared to what it used to be. And on this, we want them to actually have a complaint policy on ground, Their communication again must be very, very apt and timely in these elections. Also, it has to be compared to elections, and of course, they must be ready to extend voting hours because voting may take longer than normal.
I want to emphasize the importance of security agencies being neutral, being non-partisan, and above all, acting in a constitutional and lawful manner.
And President Muhammadu Buhari, while hosting the President Roch Marc Christian Kabore of Burkina Faso at the State House, Abuja, said Nigeria, within the limit of resources, will support the consolidation of democracy in West African countries. President Buhari said Nigeria would support countries that have elections for smooth transition. Burkina Faso holds legislative elections in November this year. President Kabore, who chairs the Economic Trade and Liberalization Scheme of ECOWAS, said he was in Nigeria to discuss crucial sub-regional issues with President Buhari. And the President, Muhammadu Buhari, has also signed the Nigeria Police Bill 2020 into law. The President, in a memo dated September 16, 2020, communicated his assent to the bill to the National Assembly through the clerk of the legislature. The statement issued by Femi Adesina, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, explained that the Act repeals the Police Act Cap P19, Laws of the Federation 2004, and provides for more effective and well-organized police force, driven by principles of transparency and accountability in its operations and management of its resources. Also in the news, the National Orientation Agency, NOA, has called on all Nigerians to take pride in showcasing the national symbols in the spirit of patriotism and nationhood. The Director General of the agency, Garba Abadi, made the call while addressing journalists at the launch of the One Nigeria campaign and a reality show in collaboration with stakeholders in the Nigerian entertainment industry. The campaign was launched in commemoration of the National Symbols Day in Abuja, which is celebrated a few weeks before Nigeria's Independence Day.
The One Nation project is centered around the Nigerian flag as a rallying and unifying symbol to reignite citizens' passion for the country at such a time when many Nigerians are turning towards their ethnic and religious inclinations more than the corporate existence of the country. The National Orientation Agency calls on agencies of government, on the organized private sector, and the other people of goodwill and public-spirited individuals, and indeed all Nigerians, to take pride in projecting our national symbols the way most nations do.
Let us all as Nigerians first see ourselves as Nigerians before whatever ethnic group we're from. We're going to have different family audition. It's a family unit, not an individual. It's a family unit that is going to compete against another family unit. And the winning family becomes the national family for the want of a better word.
I have seen how people patronize our music and movies. So these music and movies we are talking about has a lot of things concerning our tradition, our culture in it. So what I think my fellow entertainers should try to do is to show the positive aspects of these things, the culture, the tradition, just so people get to understand that our culture is positive, our culture is something they would love to identify with.
Nigerian students sponsored abroad for further studies by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, held a protest in front of the Nigerian High Commission in London over the non-release of funds for their scholarship. The protesting students, about 25 of them, represent several students on batch 2018 of the NDDC Foreign Scholarship Program who are yet to receive money for their tuition, despite the claims by the NDDC that it has recently released over $5.9 million, about 2.28 billion naira for the program. The students, in their statement to a few days ago, said the NDDC management deliberately excluded them from the latest payment for the scholarship program. To make sense of this, we have Olukayode Olugbemi on his NDDC scholarship beneficiary joining us from Aberdeen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on this interview.
Quickly bring us up to speed with the current situation.
Okay, thank you. First and foremost, the NDDC has outstanding scholars from 3 sets: the 2016, the 2018, and the 2019. I am of the 2019 set, and collectively, I'm speaking on behalf of all of the groups together. We started making a lot of noise. We were trying to get this situation resolved. There was no resolution, and we had to have a protest on the 3rd of August 2020. And after that protest, President Muhammadu Buhari on the 4th of August gave a presidential order mandating the NDDC to pay all outstanding scholars by the end of that week being 7th August.
Incidentally, batch. Is there any explanation, for the non-payment of theirs?
As far as we know, there is no, and this again goes to one of the issues that we've always had with the NDDC as our sponsor: no proper communication. They have not told us exactly what the problem was. As at 28th August, when they made the first payments to the 2019 batch, the NDDC, they were so happy to go on their Twitter accounts to announce that they have started making payments, but they mentioned that they were processing 94 payments left. They didn't even mention that those 94 people were 2018 scholars. But looking at the number of 2018 people, they are actually 94. So at the end of the day, nothing has been said about what is wrong with the 2018 set. Only that for the NDDC, I don't know how what filtered to them that we were planning another protest for Wednesday, that's 2 days ago. And the NDDC immediately rushed to their Twitter handle, all of their social media platforms, including their website, to brand these scholars as thugs, hirelings, miscreants. It's quite offensive to see that an agency that sponsored students who had a life, who had jobs, who had families in Nigeria, you sponsored them to go study at different parts of the world, you refuse to pay them for 2 years, and instead of doing the needful, you rush to the internet to call them thugs, to call them miscreants, all in a bid to water down the effect of their protest. So, thankfully, the students were not deterred by this and still had their protest on Wednesday.
All right. So what next for the students if this isn't sorted speedily?
Yes, we are still engaging with the NDDC. Still engaging. We've had this protest. We're also still trying to see how we can get the attention of the president, to ensure that this issue is looked into speedily and that the payment of the 2018 batch of scholars is resolved, as well as the remaining 7 people in 2019, as well as those scholars who are in Nigeria who could not utilize their scholarship because they could not raise funds to process their visas, ordinarily which should have been part of the responsibilities of the scholarship.
Well, share with us what exactly is the implication of this non-payment of fees for the 2018 and others? Does it, leave them stranded? Do they get kicked out of school? What exactly is the challenge here?
All of the things you have mentioned are the things that can potentially happen. So I'll give you an instance. For instance, for me, I was due to be suspended in school for non-payment of tuition exactly the day the NDDC paid my tuition. That's 28th August. Now, so for others, some may have had 1 or 2 ways where they were able to speak with their schools, but fundamentally, a lot of people are not able to continue their studies. A lot of people, even apart from the tuition, the fact that students are living in countries where they have no family members, all the sponsorship of the NDDC without the upkeep being paid. And with the coronavirus pandemic, a lot of people do not have jobs to sustain themselves or to even be able to live normal lives. So it is a delicate situation. Most of us have had to, support each other. However we can. If one person has an extra 20 pounds today, you send to another person. This was not what anybody bargained for when they brought the NDDC scholarship.
Okay, and what about the relationship with the schools that you're in and the administration? Has this dent, put a dent in the image of Nigerian students in any way?
Yes, I'll give you an instance. I have a colleague right in my own class who got both the NUDC scholarship and the PTDR scholarship when she applied, and she of course knowing the history of NUDC, she rejected the scholarship. Every time she sees me in class, she mocks me and she's like, "Oh, you people and your NUDC wahala." It's not exactly what anybody wants to hear. It's the same thing with many schools. I have colleagues who, when they presented the NUDC scholarship letter, the schools have to tell them to, before we can accept you at all, you have to pay some deposit. Ordinarily, when you go with the scholarship letter, you are not supposed to start paying deposit. The scholarship letter is supposed to carry enough weight for you to be able to resume in school. But now schools are beginning to request that students pay deposits, and for people who are already in school, of course, schools now send us emails to arrange payment plans because they cannot continue to wait for the NUDC, especially for those in 2018. So schools now arrange payment plans for students, and that's the point. It's difficult for students to pay these things. And even if the parents or family members want to support from Nigeria, at what exchange rate? These are the questions.
All right, and quickly clarify, because we need to wrap this up. The funds that we're speaking about now are meant for your tuition and regular fees for living in those countries.
Yes. That's to the tune of $30,000 US dollars for each person. So that covers both the tuition and living expenses. And so if you calculate that for about 94 people, you would see that even the statement from the NUDC was clearly inconsistent. And recognizing, it just affects the question that instead of resolving what the issues are, instead of providing clarity on what the issues are, the NUDC rather will brandish the people that we give official letters to on NUDC's letterhead, signed by the leadership of the NUDC at that time, would rather brandish them as towards hirelings and miscreants. It is unfortunate.
Olukayode, thank you so much for speaking with us from Aberdeen. Wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
And now in news reports across Africa, the High Commissioner of Tanzania in Nigeria, Dr. Benson Alfred Bana, on Thursday called for stronger trade cooperation and diplomatic relations between Nigeria and Tanzania. Bana, who is also the head of a mission of Tanzania to Nigeria, made the call while briefing newsmen in Abuja. He said the relations between the two countries were built on mutual grounds, adding that more needed to be done to attract foreign direct investment from Nigeria to his country. According to him, there is a need to promote intra-African trade under the auspices of the African Free Trade Movement to bring about improved cultural relations and attract foreign direct investment. And also in Africa, Paul Rusesabagina, depicted as a hero in a Hollywood movie about Rwanda's 1994 genocide and now on trial for terrorism, was denied bail on Thursday, though he had promised not to escape. Rusesabagina applied for bail after being charged earlier in the week with terrorism, forming or joining an irregular armed group, and complicity in murder. Some in Rwanda, including President Kagame, have a key at the National Archives. Trump said the executive order is called the 1776 Commission and would promote patriotic education.
Today, I'm also pleased to announce that I will soon sign an executive order establishing a national commission to promote patriotic education. It will be called the 1776 Commission. We embrace the vision of Martin Luther King, where children are not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The left is attempting to destroy that beautiful vision and divide Americans by race in the service of political power. By viewing every issue through the lens of race, they want to impose a new segregation, and we must not allow that to happen. Critical race theory, the 1619 Project, and the crusade against American history is toxic propaganda, ideological poison that, if not removed, will dissolve the civic bonds that tie us together, will destroy our country. That is why I recently banned trainings in this prejudiced ideology from the federal government and banned it in the strongest manner possible.
And the federal government has ordered all account holders in the country's financial institutions to register their details again. The order was given despite the possession of the bank verification numbers and the national identification numbers by account holders. This new order was disclosed by the government on its Twitter account, Nigeria Gov, on Thursday. It said, "This is to notify the general public that all account holders in financial institutions, banks, insurance companies, etc. are required to obtain, complete, and submit self-certification forms to their respective financial institutions." The statement read in part. And the United States President once again announced a new round of pandemic assistance to farmers of about $13 billion at a campaign rally in Wisconsin on Thursday, delivering aid to an important sector in a crucial battleground state. Farmers are expected to be allowed to start applying for the new program on Monday.
Many things, not only China, not only the $28 billion to our farmers. We did so much, and I'm proud to announce that I'm doing even more to support Wisconsin farmers. Starting next week, my administration is committing an additional, you've been asking for this for a long time, $13 billion in relief to help farmers recover from the China virus, including Wisconsin's incredible dairy, cranberry, and ginseng farmers who got hurt badly. Been after that money for a long time. And we will make America great again.
And now in entertainment, a popular Nollywood actor, Chief Jimoh Aliyu, has died on Thursday at the Ekiti State University Teaching Hospital at Ado-Ekiti at the age of 81. The deceased was a highly respected classical theatre arts practitioner with a passionate interest in the life of the community and its cultural heritage, as well as a commentator on Nigerian culture abroad. He is expected to be buried in his hometown in Ekiti State on Friday. In sports, U.S. Open champion Naomi Osaka has withdrawn from the upcoming French Open due to a hamstring injury, she said on Thursday. The 22-year-old Japanese had her left hamstring wrapped in tape when she battled back to defeat Victoria Azarenka at the U.S. Open final at Flushing Meadows last week en route her third Grand Slam title. "My hamstring is still sore, so I won't have time to prepare for the clay. These two tournaments came too close to each other for me this time. I wish the organizers and players all the best," she said. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Osaugie Ogbonwa.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Vicky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Edo is a very complex one. I am not a fan of Obaseki. I am not a fan of Oshiomhole.
APC is the ruling party in Nigeria.
Let me warn the APC, however, that our patience is not elastic.
Business of electoral franchise is a business of winning the souls and minds of the Edo people. We say capital rejectamenta.
Where you didn't let me resolve the issue between you and your friend, comrade. If we had done it that time, everything would have been smoother than this.
When you do good or you do bad, you will forget. Those who are beneficiaries of victories of your action, they can forget.
I'm so elated that there was no incident of violence in the 182 wards. God took control.
I am assuring you, as the Chief Security Officer of Edo, that there will be no violence in Edo for this election.
Join us on Plus TV Africa this Saturday for live updates on the Edo 2020 elections.
The Oshafa Pottery Center lies in the ancient village of Oshafa in Buari Area Council on the northern axis of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. It was established in 1991 as part of Mariam Babangida's Better Life for Rural Women project during her tenure as First Lady, showcasing the skill and creativity of women potters in Oshafa community. Sadly, the center, which was a major tourism attraction site and could boast of visits from former U.S. President Bill Clinton, former Egyptian military and political leader Hosni Mubarak, one-time British Prime Minister Tony Blair, and the former Swiss Vice President Ruth Mesler, has now become a shadow of itself. Plus TV Africa, in collaboration with Google Nigeria, alongside media practitioners, journalists, and social media influencers, visited the famous Pottery Center to showcase it as one of the important landmarks on Google Maps in Abuja, Nigeria.
Google Maps has transit information for nearly several thousand agencies, which means transport agencies for all around the world who provide transit for people, and more than 3.8 million stations in the world. Over 1 billion kilometer worth of transit results every day. And that's mind-blowing.
We were given a demonstration of the local way of making a pot such that designs are achieved using local tools. For example, twisted strings or notch wood over the surface of the clay.
She tends to go round and round about the pot until she achieves the desired shape and height. Then there are some tools equally here she has that she used to equally design it, then shaping it, then smoothing it. You have to turn and turn. She has to turn around so that the wall will be even. If you don't turn, the wall will not be even. The essence of she turning is for the wall to be round, for the clay to be even round. You can see one other tool here. That one is like a rag.
Wow.
Are you serious?
Out of that small. How did she do it?
Wow.
If they didn't show you,
it's magic. This is down.
Wow.
Magic. That's how stars do.
That's how stars.
Even look at the
The range of beautiful products created include incense burners, teapots, beads, plates, candle stands, water jars, cooking pots, bowls, and flasks. The people of the Oshafa community have been relentless in sustaining this ancient tradition of pottery making, while they hope the government will come to their aid in terms of investment and well-packaged products for exportation, which will generate more revenue and better their means of livelihood. Elsie Godwin reporting for Plus TV Africa.
Good morning and welcome to Plus Sports on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the best of analysis on the trending stories in the world of sports. My name is Okwe Adebari and I've got Destiny Onogboria in the studio with me today. Good morning, Destiny.
Good morning. It's actually a wonderful day to be back. I pray it does not rain today. I'm very, very tired of the rain. Hopefully.
Yeah, today is Friday. Are you looking forward to the weekend?
The weekend is always packed with a lot of things. So from today, Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be... Let's not go there.
All right, that's fine. Look, if you're out there watching, I hope you're going to be having a great weekend. But then we're here to help you kickstart it in the best way. Going straight into it, in the world of basketball, the Miami Heat are currently cruising in the Eastern Conference Finals as they secured their second win in the playoff series. The tightly contested encounter ended 106 to 101 in favor of the Heat. Now I've got Maka Anyanwu on standby to give us more insights on the game between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. Good morning, Maka.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine. And you?
Very well, thank you. So last night, look, we saw another amazing encounter. I love the energy in the game, between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. If you take a look at the points between the big three of both teams, talking about Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kemba Walker, and then in comparison to Dragic, Bam Adebayo, and also, Butler, very similar points shared, but then the Heat were just able to get the last-minute win. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so as we look at these two teams, we knew that this was going to be a very close series. And as we've seen in the first two games, the first one went into overtime. This one is just a 5-point win. And if you watch the game, they were trading baskets in that fourth quarter late. Heat would go up, Celtics would go up. So it was a really exciting game to watch. But there's just something about the Heat in that it factor and doing a better job at closing out games. And that's what I believe the difference is. Because if you really look at it, the Celtics had a better shooting percentage. They shot better from the three-point line. And they out-rebounded the Miami Heat. So at the end of the day, you're like, what is it? But there's one thing they have to do better at is taking care of the ball. They had 20 turnovers compared to Miami Heat 9 turnovers. And you can't really have 20 turnovers against a team like Miami Heat and expect to win. Of course, Bam came out and performed, Dragic, Robinson, what they do. On the Celtics and Tatum, Brown, Walker, those guys are consistent and they'll give you numbers night in and night out. But at the end of the day, the Celtics have to take care of the ball if they really believe they're going to beat the Miami Heat and just do better at closing out games. Miami Heat is just, they're pulling from different players and closing out the game strong. So I think it's still going to be a close series, but if the Celtics doesn't take game 3, it's going to be a long one for them.
Definitely. Now, you talked about that extra thing that probably the Heat have. Maybe it's the X factor, I don't know. But then if you take a look at the bench now for both teams, you can see that the Heat had 16 points. And then for the Celtics, they had just 13 points. So would you say that probably the bench of the Heat just gives them that edge over the Celtics?
Definitely. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of guys that contribute to the Heat's win. You have your Bam, your Dragic, your Crowder, your Butler, and Robinson that you can kind of depend on to at least put up double digits a night. But then you do have the bench that has contributions as well. But, I mean, for both teams, their bench isn't relatively that deep. I think it's just their go-to guys that are consistent. But at the end of the day, I would say the main factor here is the Celtics need to take care of the ball. And Miami, it's going to be a tough one, but it's possible it's not going to be given to them.
Definitely. All right, now moving on to the NBA team of the season. LeBron James was one of 5 players alongside presumptive NBA most valuable player Giannis Antetokounmpo, James Harden, Luka Doncic, and James' teammate Anthony Davis to be named to the league's All-NBA First Team on Wednesday. The other 10 players honored on Wednesday were guards Chris Paul and Damian Lillard, forwards Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard, and center Nikola Jokic. who made up the second team, and guards Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook, forwards Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, and center Rudy Gobert, who were selected to the third team. Maka, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that the selection for these three teams were fantastic for the 2019-20 NBA team of the season?
Yeah, I think they were quite fair. Those are the best performances that we've seen. So I think they're quite fair in the finalists, definitely.
All right. Do you think there was anyone there that probably didn't deserve to be there? And then do you think that there should be some players who should be in there? You know, I'm thinking about the likes of Rondo, Kuzma, and then probably Dragic, if you ask me. Bam Adebayo also missed out on that. So what are your thoughts?
Definitely not Rondo. I mean, he had injury problems.
True.
And then Kuzma, they're not, for me, not consistent enough. Bam, I would say, has been pretty good this season. But then you have to think about it. Would you remove someone from that list and add him? I don't think so.
All right. Now, the Western Conference Finals will take place on Saturday, I believe, or rather in the early hours of this morning, of next morning. So what are your thoughts? Do you think the Denver Nuggets have what it takes to, drop an upset against the